Hi, welcome everybody. This is Chris Petri. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about local color regarding watercolors. Many times you might hear artists talk about local color. It might be a phrase that might have, you might have seen here and there, maybe in some books, or you might have heard some watercolorists mention it here and there on some videos and so forth. But I just wanted to sort of go over it in my own kind of way, just to see how we can use it in our watercolors to really bring extra impact and extra interest and excitement to our paintings. So essentially, I'm just going to write it down here so I can kind of make a note for myself. I always take lots of notes, so I would just, I have a notebook that I keep of like my art studies, and so, I would just write down. Um, I might maybe make a note and start a new page here. So I might, put down something like local color. And this is like one of the fundamentals of watercolor and art as well. With any kind of painting, you might do acrylics, sketching, pastels, oil painting. Um, it crosses all the boundaries of art and painting and even sculpture and so forth. Anything you can really think of as far as creating art. So local color, we the definition of somewhat of the definition would be the um, basic color of an object without the effects of light and shade. Or shadow. Oh, this is the basic, I guess, idea of it. So local color equals the basic color of an object without the effects of light and shade. So in a minute, I'll kind of just give a quick demonstration of how it would work if I'm, let's say we're doing like some still life work. We're doing some fruits, some flowers, some little objects we're having in our painting, just let's say for a composition, a small composition, or even in a finished work. We might be doing a finished painting. We can see how we can use this effect of understanding local color better to get a better outcome in our paintings. So essentially, if I was just to kind of sketch it here quickly, like let's say this would be an apple. We have an apple here and it's on the table. Okay, so if we were just to look at this apple, let's say that's on our watercolor paper, that might be just red. So it might be like like a medium red color for the color of the apple, and that would be the local color. Just the basic color of the apple would be red. Now, if we introduced a bright light source, let's say from this angle over here, then so we would call this local color. So in essence, the local color is the basic color of the object without any effects of light or shade over here. So once you introduce light and shadowing, that changes the local color of the object. So let's say this section of the apple might stay the local color of the object, which might be the medium red. Over here might be the medium red, and then and then on this side, away from the light source, this would become shadow area. So this might become darker red with maybe some purple or blue in there. And then over here, on the lighter side of the object where the light is closer, that's going to be, let's say, lighter than the local color of the object. So let's say that's more like the local color. We could even cross hatch this a little bit. Okay, so let's call this the shadow side. The local intrinsic, or the local and basic, or the local color is here. So that's the local color of the object. In this example, it's an apple. And then over here on this side, this is the light side of the object. So this is going to be the lighter color of the red. So in essence, if we understand, okay, local color is the basic color of the object. So when we're painting, we can make the whole object this to start with, or actually, it'd probably be better to start off with the lightest color where the light is, and then slowly darken the object to its local color and then its shadow color. So we'll do a couple examples of this with our watercolor, but this is just the basic notes I would make in my notebook here, just to notice that local color is a specific idea of the actual basic color of the object without any effects of the light source or the light in the picture or in the setting, as well as the shade. And that changes, of course, as you know. If it's a cloudy day, you might not have as much bright sunlight, so you might not see these shadow and light effects as much. Okay, let's try an example here. We'll move along here, and we'll sketch maybe an apple, and we'll take a look. And I have my regular palette. You can always look up my palette by Chris Petri, and it'll go over all my colors I use, but these are all the colors I use in my palette. I always start off, I make sure my palette's nice and clean, and I have fresh water, and use the number 7 pencil, just a mechanical pencil. You can use a school pencil, any pencil would work. And so we'll start off by sketching first. So we'll do an apple first. So we'll contour draw an apple. Okay, that's a nice apple, and then we'll do a little shadow area, and then we'll say the light source is up here, coming from this direction here. This will be the shade side, and then we'll see how this works as far as how we can get an interesting effect with local color. So I'm going to go into some alizarin crimson, and I'll just put some paint out on my palette. So I'll use some alizarin crimson here. Then maybe for the shadow color, I'll use a little cobalt blue. And then maybe we'll use also some viridian green for the cool, just to give us a little variation, and then maybe some purple. So here we'll just mix up a little bit we'll put out some paint on the palette, some nice fresh vibrant color, and then we'll start in and we'll just sort of, maybe we'll go with I'm going to leave a little bit of, I'll leave a little highlight there, a little bright highlight. I might also add a little bit of, I put out some cadmium red, so we'll add a little cadmium red to this too as well, to the apple. Just for a little variation in color, I'll put a little bit of green in there too. Okay, so that's more or less the light side of the apple. And then we'll start getting into maybe this would be the local color here now we're going to do. So we'll start developing the idea of the light is affecting this side of the apple by brightening it up quite a bit. And then as we move over, this is the local color now of the apple. So we have the light side. Then we have the local color in the center. And then we'll start mixing in some of the blue and purple for the shade side of the apple. But we still want to have the red all the way through. And then we can just add in the shadowy color on this side over here, and we can add a little green to that. And then we can work that shadow color right into the shadow right at the same time. Maybe we add a little bit of raw sienna just to warm up the shadow a little tiny bit, give it a little more interesting look. And we can also there's a little shadow on the top of the and we'll use a little burnt umber to make for the stem. And a couple little splashes for excitement and variety. And that's an apple with local color. And also too, sometimes if we want to touch a little bit of a highlight, a little bit of a touch of the tissue there, and that can also brighten up a section. Okay, so that is basically local color in a watercolor format when we're looking at the watercolor. So that's the local color there. And then this would be the effect of light. And that's the effect of shade. So the local color is the actual color of the apple with no effect of light and shade. This is the effect of the light, and this is the effect of the shade, the shadowing on the object. And we could do another example here. We can do, maybe we'll do a lemon. And we'll do the same thing. We'll have the light coming from this direction here. And we'll go into some cadmium lemon yellow. And I'll put that on the palette over here a little bit. And we could just kind of, here I'm going to go a little faster just so we get the idea. So here we have a nice local color. The whole lemon is local color. That means that actually this can be the light. Let's call this the light effect. So this is the lightest part of the lemon. Then we might say, okay, now this is the lightest section of the lemon. What's the local color of the lemon? So let's say this is we'll use some raw sienna. I'm going to mix in some raw sienna into that lemon, cadmium lemon. And this is just to give us the idea of, so now this is the local color right there in the center. And then on the shadow side of the lemon, we'll just go in with a tiny bit of cobalt blue and some maybe some viridian and cobalt blue, and we'll just touch in a little bit of the shadow like so. And okay, and now this here we can say again simply, the center section here is the local color, and this is the light and shadow, just like the other apple that we did. Okay, hope you enjoy. Try practicing this a few times and have some fun, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.